What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a great day. Wore this shirt on purpose, save the manuals, because today's video is about the new 400Z. Now, I would like to add photos and stuff, but I don't want to get hit with some crazy copyright law or something on a photo or something. So if y'all want to see the new 400Z, if you didn't see it yesterday, you can easily go to Google. Just Google 400Z. It was a yellow car. It'll pop right up. So let's get right into the meat and potatoes of the video. I watched most of the reveal. Not all of it. When they got to the question part, I was like, why are they asking these questions? I mean, it's questions like, did the final product, come out with what your first vision intended it to be? I want to know about the drivetrain. I'm a driver, I'm not the car's engineer. I'm a consumer, so I wanted to know stuff like horsepower, price point, final gear ratio, stuff like that. So I didn't hear those questions, and after watching like 30 minutes of the questions, I was like, all right, I'm done. But I did watch like the first part of it, and my first initial impression is I liked it. I've always been a big fan of the Z cars. I've owned a 90 non-turbo pearl yellow and a 91 super white twin turbo. It had a little over 500 horsepower. Love both those cars. I always liked the older Zs and stuff like that. And this car, they said, takes its styling cues from the 240Z and the 300Z. And the 300Z is actually my favorite Z car that's ever been made, in my opinion. I just love the designs of that car. But I want to tell you, as I looked at that car, I could actually see a lot of the 350Z in that car, especially in the front end. Had that big open mouth in the front end and that wide bumper, and even had like some little lines on the sides. It just reminded me a lot of the 350Z, and I didn't hear them mention the 350Z in the styling cues, but I could see the 350Z in it. Even a little bit on the interior, it looked like they still use like the 350Z style knobs. I think the 370 has those in it too, but like for climate controls, I've not been in a 370, I've been in one, but it's been a long time ago. I can't remember how the climate control knobs were, but it looked like the 350 style climate control knobs. Had the 3 pods up on the dash like the 350s did. I could see some styling cues from that as well. So even though they didn't mention it to me, especially in the front end on the bumper, I could see 350Z-esque features about the car. Now, as you went back over the hood, I could see where they got that 240Z styling in the hood. I could really see how they could say I took the 300 and the 240. It's almost like they did like the 240 in the front end, and then as they went to the back, they did the 300 towards the back. Because I could really see that nice slope through the back of the car like the 300 had. Now, in the very back of the taillights, I don't think it was as 300-esque. I think it was more of its own car back there, in my opinion. Now, they had this piece of chrome that kind of went over the windows on the side, and they called it the Katana. And I can see where they got that as well, because it did look like a long swooping katana sword that kind of cut off. And I guess it's going back towards that Japanese heritage, and they added a little bit of that in there, and I really like that. I like when they add cues like that into the car, and little subtle things like that we probably wouldn't have normally thought about, but after watching that video and hearing them talk about it, I could definitely see how they added that in there. Now, the rest of the car, from a driver standpoint, I'll be interested to sit in one of these and see how big of a blind spot you have in the back. Now, I'm not comparing these two cars by no means, but my wife's Honda Civic Si, soon to be something coming to the channel there, has a huge blind spot, especially over the driver's left shoulder. Now, one thing they did incorporate in the Honda, and I don't know if they incorporated this in the Z, but on the passenger side, they have a little camera in the mirror that whenever you turn on your turn signal, or there's a button on the turn signal you can push, you can turn that camera on, and it shows you what's beside you. It's almost like a blind spot monitoring camera that comes up, and her car really needed one on the driver's side as well. And if this Z has a blind spot, what it looked like to me that it did have, it would be pretty cool if they would have put those cameras on those mirrors. Like I said, they may have, I don't know. I didn't hear anything about that. I didn't see anything about that. But hopefully more car manufacturers realize the blind spots in these vehicles and will add these cameras onto the side mirrors and help with those issues. But to me, just looking at the car, looks like there could be a pretty good blind spot on that side. Now, as we move into the vehicle, had a beautiful digital dash. I love that. Just this huge, just digital dash. Easy to read, easy to see. I'm sure there'll be options that you can change up on that. When you do digital dashes, you can change a lot of things. I don't know if there'll be like a sport mode or something like that, and it'll change the outlay of the dash and stuff like that. But that would be pretty cool if they incorporated something like that in the car, to whereas you change modes of the car, it changed modes in the dash. I thought the infotainment system was laid out nice, easy to get to. And again, as you went down the climate control knobs, it looked like they used the predecessor's climate control knobs in the vehicle. Not a problem there. It just, to me, it looked like they did. And then it had 3 gauges. Not sure what the readouts of those gauges will be. I'm sure it'll be something similar to the 350 and 370Z, but they did have the 3 gauge pods at the top. Now, as in normal Z cars, it looked like it's going to be a tight interior, and I'm sure that's designed that way because on a performance driving vehicle, you want to be planted in the platform where you just feel like you're so stable in the car, and that looked like the case to me. I've drove several 350s. Like I said, it's been a while since I've been a 370, but it was very, very tight in that car. My 300 was very tight in the car, but it really makes you feel like you're part of the car when you're in there that way. It's bad for taller people such as I am. I'm 6'3", so it kind of makes it extremely tight on me. But if you're 6 foot and under, it's a pretty nice platform for a driver's vehicle. And even at 6'3", it's doable for me. The passenger on long trips, you know, it's just going to be a tight car. It's not going to be something that you'll probably want to drive across country. Not saying you can't do that, but you're going to be a little cramped and a little sore by the time you get there. I didn't see inside the trunk. I don't know if they ever showed inside the hatch. I'm sure there's ample enough space back there. I think in the 370s, they took that bar out that was in the 350s and made more space back there. Hopefully they incorporated that into this. I'm not sure if that bar was a anti-rear sway bar that they put in there or not. I think that's what it was, but either way, hopefully they took that out so you could actually have some more trunk space in the car. And they saved the 6-speed manual transmission. Gotta love that. If you guys can't drive a manual transmission, you should go learn, because in performance cars, especially in the curves and stuff like that, it is so much fun to drive a manual transmission. And to me, that's the essence of the sports car world. You know, if you're buying a sports car, I know that the dual clutch transmissions are faster shifting than manual transmissions, but going back to the old school roots in a manual transmission, it's just so much fun, and there's just something that makes you feel planted to the car and the road when you're shifting your own gears, and you can rev match and you rev it as high as you want. I mean, it's just something about it that just makes it so nostalgic. And unless I was buying a car like a GTR or something that wasn't offered in a manual transmission, I will probably never own a sports car that's an automatic or a dual clutch, like Tiptronic or something like that, paddle shift transmission. I will always opt for the manual if possible. I know a lot of cars are going away from that, and I'm excited that the 400 will still maintain the manual transmission. I did read online, I didn't hear what they said about the horsepower, but I did read online that it's expected to have 400 horsepower to go along with the 400Z name. And if it does, I think that's great, because you have, you know, Mustangs and stuff that's well over 400 horsepower. You've got the Supra that's not quite there, but it can easily break that with a few mods, and the Supras are so fast. And another thing that I read was that they're going to try to bring this car in at under $40,000, starting at under $40,000, which also trumps the Supra, because the Supra is more than that. I tell you one thing, with all the Z cars I've had, I've always had good luck with Nissans. I don't trust BMWs. So when Toyota put a BMW engine in the new Supra, I knew that was done for me. I wasn't going to buy one of those. I just feel like the reliability won't be there. And I know Nissan has had their issues here as of recently, especially like their CVT transmissions not so long ago in the past and stuff like that. But I've always had good luck with Nissan, and I feel better about buying a Nissan car with a Nissan engine in it than I do buying a Toyota vehicle with a BMW engine in it. Until they prove that BMW engine can go, 200,000 miles without any issues like a normal Toyota can, I'm just very skeptical of that car. So if they bring this 400Z in at under $40,000 with 400 horsepower, I think it's going to take the market by storm, especially the first 2 years. Now, one thing I don't want Nissan to do is actually keep this car as long as they did like the 350s and 370s. I mean, those cars got very long in the tooth before they ever changed them. I mean, they just kicked a dead horse with those cars. And everybody was so tired of the 370Z. I don't know how many they sell right now new, but it can't be many because that car's been around forever, and there's a lot of newer cars out there that offer more for the same price, if not less. So I hope they don't keep this one that long where they just drag it through the dirt and everybody just gets so tired of it. That's just my opinion. Let me know what you thought about it. Did you watch the reveal of the 400Z? Did you like what you seen? Did you like the styling cues of it and stuff like that? I thought it was a good looking car. I could definitely see where they were coming from with the 240 and the 300Z styling cues. But like I said, I think they should have mentioned the 350 because from the front end, I see a lot of that in as well. I appreciate y'all watching this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you next time.